Welcome to the Deep Dive AI Brief, episode 283. Our goal today, as always, is to really cut through the noise and give you the essential takeaways from the huge shifts happening right now in AI.
Yeah, today we're looking at how truly massive amounts of capital, the kind that literally reshapes industries, is influencing adoption and driving some critical infrastructure changes.
We're connecting the dots, right, between OpenAI's just staggering valuation, where startups are actually spending their money, and this potentially game-changing quantum news.
Exactly. And let's not forget Google's coding agent push and the surge in chip stocks. It's all interconnected.
Okay, let's start right at the very peak of the money mountain. OpenAI. They've officially grabbed the title of the world's most valuable private company.
That's right. They just wrapped up a secondary share sale, locking in a valuation of, get this, $500 billion. That puts them ahead of SpaceX.
It's just an enormous number. And this sale, it wasn't about raising new capital, right? It was about letting employees and early investors cash out some shares.
Yeah, correct. It was about liquidity. And the buyers were heavyweights, Thrive Capital, SoftBank, MGX out of Abu Dhabi. They all wanted a piece.
But here's where it gets really interesting for me. OpenAI apparently authorized, $10.3 billion in shares for sale? But employees only ended up selling $6.6 billion worth.
Yeah, that $3.7 billion gap. That's the kicker. Insiders are saying it's basically pure optimism.
Meaning the employees holding those shares think the company is going to be worth even more soon, so they held back.
Precisely. They could have cashed out more, but they're betting on significant future upside. It's a pretty powerful signal from the people who know the tech best. They believe this $500 billion valuation is just, a stepping stone.
And you can kind of see why. I mean, the valuation jumped from $300 billion just back in March.
Fueled by serious revenue growth, they apparently pulled in $4.3 billion just in the first half of this year, 2025. That's more than all of last year combined.
Wow.
And offering this kind of liquidity, this chance to cash in, it's almost a strategic necessity now. Well, think about the talent war. You've got rivals throwing around 9-figure compensation packages to poach top AI researchers.
Right.
If OpenAI can't give its people a clear path to realizing significant wealth from their stock, they risk losing the very talent that's driving this incredible growth. This sale helps them compete on that front.
Okay, so that's the view from the top, the massive valuation. Let's shift now to where the money's actually being spent on the ground floor. We saw some really interesting data on startup spending.
Yeah, this was based on analyzing transaction patterns from, I think, over 200,000 startups using Mercury bank accounts. It gives a real picture of actual dollar flow, not just hype.
And the top two were probably not a huge surprise.
No, OpenAI and Anthropic led the pack, as you'd expect. They provide the foundational models lots of people build on, but the really telling part is what came after them.
Okay, what trends jumped out?
Well, 3 categories really stood out as getting significant traction and budget. First, and maybe a bit surprisingly, was creative tools. This was actually the biggest category listed.
Really? What kind of tools?
Things like Free Pick for assets, 11 Labs for voice generation, Kling for video, even Canva, the big design platform. 10 different creative tools made the list.
So automating creative work isn't just experimental anymore. Startups are actually budgeting for it, baking it into their workflows.
Exactly. It's becoming core infrastructure for marketing, content, you name it. The second big area was something called vibe coding.
Vibe coding. Explain that a bit.
It's basically using AI to help developers write code that matches the style, the patterns, the sort of vibe of an existing code base, making the AI contribution feel seamless.
Ah, okay. So more sophisticated than just autocomplete.
Much more. And 4 platforms specifically for this Replit, Cursor, Lovable, Emergent, they all showed up in the spending data. It proves this is moving beyond just individual developers using it personally into real enterprise adoption.
Makes sense. And the third category?
Agentic tools. These are AIs designed for more complex autonomous tasks, think specialized AI employees or platforms for building these agents.
So not just simple chatbots, but tools that can actually do things.
Right. The data shows these are moving past the novelty stage. Startups are finding real work use cases and are willing to pay for these more autonomous capabilities.
Speaking of agents doing work, particularly coding work, Google made a move here too, right? With their Jules agent.
They did. They launched Jules Tools, which includes a new command line interface, a CLI, and also a public API for Jules.
Okay, a CLI. So developers can interact with Jules directly from their terminal window.
Yep. Type commands, kick off tasks, monitor progress, automate things without having to jump over to a web interface. It's about reducing friction for developers.
And they opened up API access too.
Correct. This lets companies plug Joules into their existing tools like Slack or integrate it directly into their own development pipelines. It's a big push for deeper integration.
Seems like they're adding quality of life stuff too, like remembering preferences.
Yeah, Joules can now handle tasks in the background on Google servers. It remembers programmer preferences, learns from past corrections, even helps manage security credentials during automated tasks.
So Google's strategy seems to be about making it super practical, really embedding it into the developer's existing workflow.
I think so. They're competing hard against OpenAI's Codex, Anthropic's Claude Code, and others. Making Joules easy and useful right where developers live in the terminal, that seems to be their angle to boost adoption.
Okay, we've covered the money, the spending, the agent adoption. Let's zoom out slightly and look at the foundational stuff. Hardware, research breakthroughs.
Definitely. And that market action we talked about, it directly fuels the hardware side. That huge OpenAI valuation, for example, seemed to pour gasoline on the chip sector fire.
How so?
Well, investor excitement just exploded. Chip valuations surged globally. We saw the Philadelphia SOX index jump. Asian chip stocks collectively added something like $200 billion in market cap in just one session.
Wow. Off the back of the OpenAI news and other deals.
Yeah, deals involving Korean chip makers, moves by Intel and AMD, it all created this massive momentum. Stocks like SK Hynix were up 10%, Samsung saw a healthy bump, even European players like ASML surged.
It really underscores the dependency, doesn't it? All this amazing AI software runs on incredibly specialized, expensive hardware.
Absolutely. The capital flowing into AI software immediately translates into demand and massive potential returns for the companies making the chips and the equipment.
But maybe the most potentially groundbreaking news wasn't even about silicon chips. It was quantum computing.
Right. This came out of Harvard. Scientists there seem to have tackled one of the fundamental long-standing problems with quantum computers.
Which is, I know they're notoriously unstable.
Exactly. Qubits, the basic units of quantum information, are incredibly fragile. They can just sort of disappear or decohere because of noise or environmental factors crashing the computation.
Okay, so what did the Harvard team figure out?
They essentially built a quantum computer that can run nonstop. It does this by actively correcting errors and replacing lost qubits in real time as the computation runs.
Replacing them on the fly.
That's the idea. Their new system ran continuously for over 2 hours, which is an eternity in quantum terms. And theoretically, they say, it could run indefinitely.
Okay, that sounds huge. If you solve the stability and runtime issue?
It could be monumental. It potentially shifts quantum computing from this highly delicate, laboratory-bound thing towards something more robust, maybe even scalable. It could seriously change the timeline for practical quantum applications.
Definitely something to watch.
Right.
Any other sort of infrastructure or big platform updates?
Well, IBM made a move in the enterprise space. They launched Granite 4.0.
Okay, what's Granite?
It's a new family of large language models, but they're designed to be open, relatively small, and really efficient. The focus is specifically on agentic workflows and common enterprise tasks, getting maximum useful output with minimum compute resources.
Interesting. So targeting practical business use cases. And we even saw AI popping up in sports.
Yeah, the NBA. They're partnering with AWS to launch something called Inside the Game.
What is that?
It's a new broadcast platform. It uses AI to generate advanced stats, visualize strategy, provide really detailed player tracking, all aimed at giving fans a deeper understanding during the game.
Huh. AI enhancing the viewing experience. Okay. And just quickly, any legal news?
Just a note that OpenAI filed its response and a motion to dismiss that lawsuit from Elon Musk and XAI. Their stance seems to be pretty frame-focused on their mission not getting sidetracked.
Got it. Okay, that covers the big picture shifts. Before we wrap, let's do a quick round of some trending AI tools that people listening might want to actually check out or try.
Sounds good. Let's make it practical. First up, maybe Perplexity's Comet browser.
Right. They just made the base version free for everyone.
They did. The main feature is that sidecar assistant. It sits alongside your browsing, summarizes pages, helps you navigate sites in real time, kind of like an AI co-pilot for the web.
Cool. What else?
For developers or anyone working with models, there's a tool called Tinker. Think of it as an API that makes it easier to fine-tune open-source language models.
So if you need a model to understand your company's specific jargon or data.
Tinker aims to simplify that process. Then Claude, Anthropic's model, now has a new Slack integration, lets you search and reference your Slack workspace history using Claude.
Okay, useful for knowledge workers. What about creative stuff?
Descript. It's a video editor, but now you can apparently edit video using text prompts, like telling the AI, cut this section or add background music here, makes video editing potentially much more accessible.
Interesting. Anything for personal productivity, maybe managing all our scattered information?
Yeah, check out Terramind. It aims to be an AI search layer across all your personal data notes, calendar, emails, project files. Tries to solve that fragmentation problem.
That's a common pain point. One more.
For designers, maybe, there's Glazed. It claims to turn Figma designs into ready-to-ship tracking code really quickly, like in minutes, speeding up that design-to-dev handoff. Oh, and Chatquick converts voice notes into audiobooks or podcasts.
Okay, great list of tools to explore.
Yeah.
So wrapping this all up, what are the main threads we pulled today?
I think two things really stand out. First, just the sheer unprecedented scale of capital pouring into AI, epitomized by that $500 billion OpenAI valuation. Money is flowing like never before.
That's good.
The clear shift of specialized agentic AI tools for coding, for creative work, for design, moving from being kind of cool novelties into becoming budgeted necessities that drive real workflow improvement.
So it's moving beyond general chatbots into tools that do specific, valuable work.
Exactly, which leads to maybe a final thought to ponder. If that Harvard quantum breakthrough is as significant as it sounds, if they've really cracked the nonstop runtime problem by fixing instability on the fly, how much does that accelerate the timeline for practical, scalable quantum computing? Are we talking years shaved off? A decade? That potential disruption feels, well, closer than it did last week.
That's a really powerful question to leave things on. The potential acceleration there is huge.
Definitely something to keep an eye on.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for joining us for this deep dive into the AI brief. If you found this valuable, please do follow the show and maybe share this episode with someone else you think would benefit from getting up to speed quickly on what really matters in AI right now.
Thanks for listening.
We'll be back soon with more insights from the cutting edge.